I call this Sauer stew because we're going to add sauerkraut to this very hearty. Yeah, it's really what I used to call a stoup when I was a kid, a cross between a soup and a stew. These are 2 carrots, 2 medium potatoes, 1 large onion, 1 fresh bay leaf, and 1 large parsnip or 2 skinny parsnips. All right, into the stew pot it goes, couple tablespoons of olive oil. That's only on like medium heat, but my stove is possessed. Salt, of course. We're gonna sweat that first phase. So let's take a tour around the stove. Back here is some butter that's just melting from the heat of the other burners being on. We're going to brown the pierogi in this butter. This is another pan if you're using, and it's optional, obviously everything in your kitchen is optional, but this pan, a non-stick skillet, we're going to use to just sear up and crisp up the kielbasa. I've already taken about a loose cup of porcini mushroom or dried mixed mushroom. All I did was cover this with water. Nothing else, just water, and get them nice and tender, and now they've cooled down. So if you're not using meat of any kind, this will give a really delicious flavor that's actually quite meaty to the stew itself. So the first thing we're going to do for the pierogi is gently parboil them, just a few minutes, couple minutes, but you don't want to crowd the pan. So when the water comes to a boil, you salt it a bit, and then we drop these guys in, and I cook them in a couple of batches to heat them through and let them float. It'll take 3 or 4 minutes. Now we're going to put in a couple tablespoons of tomato paste. I would normally add 2 teaspoons each of cumin and caraway, but there's caraway in the sauerkraut I'm going to add to this stew as well. So I'm just going to add cumin. And then 2 tablespoons of paprika or smoked paprika or a combo of the 2. Then we add our meat alternative if you're keeping this vegetarian. We're going to add in the reconstituted porcini, or you can use mixed dried mushroom. Why did we use dry mushroom? So that we would have the benefit of the cooking liquid. Save the last 2 tablespoons though, pour very carefully, because any grit that was in the mushroom will settle there. And you're going to add about 2 quarts of vegetable or chicken stock or broth or bone broth. So if you're using sauerkraut that comes in a big pouch, for instance, and it has a ton of liquid, you might want to give it a quick rinse and let it drain fully. And this is bone dry. I can barely get it out of the jar. So we're adding about a couple of cups, a pound of sauerkraut. And there you go. Just let that thicken up a bit and the flavors combine and the root vegetable and potato cook all the way through. And then our sauce, as I told you, you can just serve plain sour cream, or you can stir in a touch of traditional Dijon mustard and a little bit of prepared horseradish. I crisped up our sliced on a bias kielbasa. You can use plant-based sausage. I browned up our pierogi, 2 minutes on each side, perfectly brown, in a little melted butter, 2 tablespoons of butter. To finish the soup, we're going to add about a 1/4 cup of the grainy Dijon and that huge cup of herbs, chive, dill, parsley. Wow, look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. Drizzle around our creme fraiche. Then we're going to add a little kielbasa or plant-based sausage. And some crispy pierogi. Dot the pierogi with a touch more of your sauce. I mean, come on.